welcome to our YouTube channel. This is going to be our first official video, and we decided to do a little interview style.
Yep.
So I kind of, first of all, me being a new agent into the industry, I am first off getting a lot of help and a lot of educational points, and I'm getting a lot of it from Rudy because he's been in the industry for a good while now, and
it's gonna be 5 years next month.
And I feel like any new agent out there would definitely want to know or pick his brain on how has he become so successful in his business, how have he gone this far, and who's influenced him. So we're gonna do a little interview style on how Rudy's brain works. That should be fun. That should be fun. I live with you and I married you, so I know your brain, but they don't know your brain, so they would like to know. People have spoken.
Right.
So we're gonna do a quick little interview style with Rudy here, and I'm gonna ask him some questions, very basic, and enjoy.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So first off, Rudy, say who are you? What do you do?
Well, I'm Rudy. I'm a realtor for the state of California, and I've been doing real estate for close to 5 years. It's gonna be 5 years in February. Can't believe it's been that long. Time has flown by. But I guess we'll start a little bit further back. So born and raised in Watsonville, California. Grew up there in a little town called Las Lomas, and lived there up until I was around 12 years old. And then from there we relocated to another little town, to a neighboring town next to Las Lomas called Prudendale. And then we were there for as long as until now, you know. We bought a house at 24 years old, and we bought a house here in Prudendale because we loved it.
You and I.
You and I.
Oh yeah. I got confused. I was like, what? Okay, yeah, you and I.
So and we've been here ever since.
Okay, so what made you? So I have a couple questions here on you as a realtor. So what made you get into real estate?
What made me get into real estate? Well, my dad was a realtor for about 17 years, and he always was trying to persuade me to get into real estate. And when I was younger, it wasn't really appealing to me until you and I got married and we moved to Sacramento. And then I was trying to find myself what to do. So I ended up working for a property management company, and through there is when I found out, when I got like a first hand of real estate.
Yeah.
And I liked it. Seeing it from a different perspective, I liked it. So then I thought, okay, this is appealing. I like how strategic they are. You have to do like strategic thinking. So I thought I want to be in real estate. So then I went through the courses, and I took some classes, and I ended up getting my license while we were in Sacramento. Yeah. So then once we moved back, my dad was in real estate. He was in a firm here in Watsonville. And I went and I joined the firm that he was with, and we worked together.
You would definitely say that your dad influenced you into real estate?
Yes.
Okay, and what do you like so far of being a real estate agent? What is the one thing that you like so far? Or maybe even a couple things. What do you like so far?
There's a couple of things. I would say what I really enjoy is being able to help people who didn't believe that they could buy a home. That's I think really fulfilling. Sometimes we have different families from different walks of life, with different mindsets, with different financial goals, and in different financial positions. And sometimes their dream is saying, hey, my dream is to buy a home. That's essentially their dream. So then they come to you and they're like, well, but I don't know if I can afford one, or I don't know how I can buy one. So for me, what I really enjoy is sitting down and kind of going over the numbers with them, and kind of giving them from point A to point B. And we kind of give them a roadmap, per se, and we say, okay, this is where you currently are. These are the challenges that you currently have. If you want to buy a home, then this is where you need to be. This is how much money you need to save. And maybe here are some tips how you can save money, or maybe here are some tips how you can pay off some debt.
Yeah.
And I think that has to be one of the most rewarding feelings, is helping others achieve that.
That was really good. That was really good. Okay, so that's the great thing, right? But what is the hardest thing about being a real estate agent?
The hardest thing about being a real estate agent would be, I don't know what would be the hardest thing. I don't know.
What would be like a fear? Let's put it this way. When you first started, what was your biggest fear when you first started? What was your biggest fear getting into the industry? What did you just dread the most?
Failing, not succeeding. That was my biggest fear. Is that I didn't want to jump into this career where they say that 95% of realtors fail and they drop out or they give up in the business within 2 years. And that was my biggest fear. So for me was I did not want to fail. And luckily I have to thank my family and friends because they were really supportive in the sense that they gave me an opportunity and they continue to give me opportunities where they were like, oh, you're in real estate, that's great. I have a friend who wants to buy a house. Here, reach out to them. Or here, I give them your business card. So first of all, I want to say thank you guys because that has allowed us to be successful because of them, because of you guys, constantly referring us to friends and family. So, I'm truly grateful for that. But that was my biggest fear. And I think that also comes with the first brokerage firm that I worked with is she constantly said, if you want to be successful, you need to have goals. If you want to be successful, you need to write down your goals. If you want to be successful, you have to see your goals daily. And if you want to be successful, then you have to be held accountable for your actions. And if somebody calls you, you need to return their phone call. If somebody needs information, you need to be available to your clients. I think that those are just the principles that I've tried to implement throughout my career. And the number one thing that she also said was, and I say she because she was a lady that influenced me, is she said you need to be honest. If you don't know an answer to a question, you never answer it or assume. You always say, I don't know the question to that answer, but let me look into it and I'll get it for you. And that's what you do. So I think those are just like traits that have helped me over the years. Almost 5 years later, be here. I can't believe it's been 5 years. Time has flown.
It feels longer.
It does feel longer, but it's been 5 years. It's gonna be 5 years next month.
I know. What advice would you give to any new real estate agents that are out there and they're trying to figure out if this is really their career or if they are in it and they've committed to it? And so what's some new advice that you would give to just new real estate agents or just agents in the industry right now?
I would say trust the process. And I would say that don't get into real estate because of the money. I feel a lot of people want to get in certain professions because of the money or because of certain lifestyle that is portrayed in maybe television or Hollywood of, oh, this is a realtor, this is a lifestyle that they live. I would say that, those are all, I guess, great things, that might motivate somebody to get into it. In order to truly succeed, in my opinion, right, is for you to be passionate about what you're doing. Because there are going to be times when you're going to be working all day, every day, and you're going to be working on weekends. And and I think that if your goal is just to make money, then that's going to be unmotivating in the long run. So I think that your goal, you have to have some passion in it, whether it's helping people, whether it's I would say helping people. If you're a people person, then you're going to enjoy it. And I think that should be your main focus.
And he talked a lot about education and a lot about teaching yourself. That was the biggest thing that he told me was I need to know everything that has to be about real estate, especially if I'm going to get in a conversation about real estate clearly, right? If it's your career, it's what you decide to do for the rest of your life. And if you don't know what you're talking about, then there's just no point in even getting in the industry. There's no point in doing that because people are going to ask you questions. You need to know.
Yeah, so for me, I think being a realtor is not just being a realtor. I would say it's more a lifestyle of being aware. So you have to have a good sense of finances.
Yeah.
You have to have a good sense of the economy.
Correct.
Correct.
Like personal finances.
Personal finances, economy. You have to have a good sense of financing. And the reason is because if I'll use an example. If I'm going to be your advisor and you want to buy a house, but I don't own my own house, or I don't have a house that I have to keep up with, how am I going to advise you on doing that? If my credit or my finances aren't in place, how am I going to advise you for you to do something?
Yeah.
So the way that I see it is I can only be as good to you as good as I am to myself and my household.
Yeah.
So if I want to help people, then I need to first be in a good state of mind, financially and mentally, so I can go and help other people and inspire them and allow them to say, hey, you want to live the American dream? You can achieve it, and this is how you do it.
Yeah.
You can do it because, in a sense, we're doing it. In a sense, we wanted to own our own house, and we had obstacles, that we had to face of saving money, of not acquiring debt. And then we knew that the mortgage was going to come into play, so we had to strategize, okay, this is how we can pay for a mortgage. Ultimately, I feel like it's so rewarding. I honestly believe that owning your own home is one of the best rewards that one can have. Why? Because after working, right, a long day of work, even though you enjoy it, you can come home and you feel at ease, you feel at peace. If you need a vacation and your house is set up the way you want it to, you feel like you have a little vacation every single day from the world, and that is so therapeutic because nobody can take that away. So I think that everybody should have a goal of buying a house. There is a way for every single person that they can buy a house. A lot of people believe that, I need to make more money to buy a house. But sometimes it's about saying you have enough, but how are you utilizing what you have?
What do you do daily to keep yourself on track and to keep yourself motivated, I guess, in a sense? It could be anything as simple as like writing down your goals, or in the morning, it could be something simple as, I don't know, drinking a tea every morning, or every night. Like, what is your daily task that you do every day that you feel like sets you in the right path for the rest of the day?
So when I have my most productive days, I usually do my schedule the night before. So I usually like to write out whatever task I need to accomplish the following day the night before, because that way when I wake up the next day, I already know exactly what I have to do. And I feel that keeps me in line to achieve my goals. Also, the great idea that you did was that you got that big whiteboard for us and you put it in our kitchen. So, we have to walk through our kitchen every single day. So I see that, and that is also motivating.
This is a big thing, especially I suffer from it a lot, and every time that I feel this way, I always go to you every time that something like this is happening to me. But I feel like there's a lot of people out there that don't have somebody to go to. But what do you do when you're feeling down? Like, what do you do when you have that bug in your head that's saying you're not going to be successful, you're not going to make it through, or it could be just you're having a crappy day? Like, what is it that you do to pull yourself out of it? Or do you pull yourself out of it, or do you give yourself that day to be like, I'm just gonna cry all day today, I'm just gonna hang out, eat crappy food? Like, what is it that you do?
I would say, same thing. I have you, so if I'm having a bad day, then I vent to you, and I express whatever's crossing my mind. My dad recently passed away, so that was a really, really big challenge for me. It was it had to be, one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with in my life. And it's still a challenge, I feel that in order to move forward is I try to filter my mind with positive things. Now, whether it's listening to maybe a positive podcast, I really enjoy Brian Buffini, or whether it's reading. I really enjoy reading.
Who's that guy that you listen to every morning?
Earl Nightingale.
Earl Nightingale.
Yes.
That voice.
Yeah. So Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite YouTube you would call it.
He listens to it every morning. Every single morning, that man's voice is in this house. Every single morning.
So that's really motivating for me. That really helps me. And then I enjoy reading too. So I enjoy reading, and that also helps me.
What are your favorite books? What are some books that you like right now?
It would be As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. That would have to be probably my favorite book of all times. It's a really, really short book. I think it's under 30 pages. But that would have to be one of my favorite books right now. I mean, of all times, I read that book about 5 years ago, and I still read it. I try to read that book at least once or twice a year, just because it's so refreshing.
And uplifting.
And uplifting, yeah. So it's a good book.
So if you could give just one solid advice to the real estate agents out there, what would it be for 2020? Like, what do you feel you want to get out there to the realtors?
One piece of advice is, I would say that you will get compensated for the work that you put out there. There is no shortcuts. So if you work hard and you truly are giving it your all to yourself and to your clients, you will get compensated in return for what you are worth. And you have to trust that. And if you're not working, you will not get compensated. It's as simple as that. I guess that would be my advice to realtors or anybody out there.
That was my little interview. You guys got to get a little tiny piece of Rudy's brain. I think we could probably be here all day. I feel like he's so full of wisdom all the time, and I feel like he just needs to share it with the world. And I really felt like I had to interview him because I felt like I get this all the time. I get this person all the time, and I'm super lucky. And I really hope that you real estate agents out there that are kind of feeling down or even are new into the industry, or even real estate agents that are been in the industry, or someone looking for a home and feel like they can't buy a home, that he kind of gave you a little bit of that push. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Yep, thank you guys for watching.
Thank you. See you next time.
Bye.